Hey, thanks for dropping in. Every so often, but not as often as I should, I like to go through my fridge and pantry to take stock of what's there. Usually this doesn't lead to much, maybe a stir fry or a casserole, nothing too exciting. But today, we got lucky because we have everything we need to make one of my favorite soups, seafood chowder. I'm excited, let's get to it. Alright, before we start, let's go through what we have. Of course, it can't be seafood chowder without the seafood, so we've got a couple of frozen sole fillets from a lemon fish that I made last weekend. As well as some base scallops, most of which went into a pasta, also from last weekend. For my daughter, a little bacon. I've got a really cool idea for how to use it. Of course, there are potatoes. My wife would never forgive me if I didn't include these. We have to have aromatics, so here's half an onion, should be enough, as well as a clove of garlic. In addition to potatoes, my wife also likes cream in her chowder. I don't have any heavy cream, but I do have a little bit of sour cream. It'll work fine. For the liquid, we'll be using BTB chicken stock. What else? Veg or seafood stock would have been ideal, but I don't have either, so this'll have to do. I've got tomato paste. I know I said my wife likes her chowder creamy, but I actually like mine with a bit of tomato, so we're making fusion chowder today. Here's some celery, just so we can say our soup has veg, and it'll add color. Also, a selection of herbs left over from the 40 clove chicken recipe I posted a few days ago, which you should check out. We've got Panko, this'll partner with a bacon. And some Old Bay. I love this spice with anything seafood. And finally, some frozen corn. And that's it. Onto the stove. First thing we need to do is fry our bacon. So we'll lay them into our wok, and yes, I'm using a wok, because I use a wok for just about everything, even soup. If you want to use a boring old pot, go ahead. The bacon's still frozen, so we'll splash in a tiny bit of water to help get it going. We'll pull the strips apart as it thaws, then fry it till it's nice and crisp. Our bacon's done, it can come out. We'll set it aside and get back to it later. As for the grease, we'll leave it alone, because we're going to need it to fry the potatoes. We're not looking to cook the potatoes or even really brown them. We just want to get them started and give them a chance to soak in some of that delicious bacon fat. The potatoes are looking good, so we can add our onion and garlic, as well as the celery. And we'll hit it all with some Old Bay. This smells fantastic already, but maybe we'll add just a pinch more Old Bay. That should do it. We'll let this cook a minute to allow the onions to soften. It's time to add tomato paste. Not too much. This is still primarily a cream soup, but with a slight hint of tomato. We'll mix it in and let the tomato paste dry out and deepen in flavor. Now let's build our stock. First, a bit of thyme. I also had sage and rosemary on hand, but I'm not sure either of those would work in a seafood chowder, so we're sticking with just thyme. I'm also leaving the sprigs whole. We can easily pull them out once they're done. Next, some cold water, because I'm lazy about making stock in advance. So instead, we'll add plain water, and once it comes to a simmer, we'll stir in the BTB. I'd say that's good enough. Let's add our stock base. And that's it for now. We'll let this simmer until the potatoes are just tender enough to pierce with a fork. That'll probably be about 15 minutes, but we'll check in 10 just in case. It's been 14 minutes and our potatoes are perfect. They still have some cooking to go through, so we don't want them too soft just yet. Now we can go in with the stars of the show. First, the fish, which we've cut into generous chunks. And our scallops, which we didn't do anything to. We'll stir them in to make sure they're submerged. Then we'll let this come back to a simmer and cook for about another 5 minutes. Our chowder's just about ready, so let's fish out the thyme sprigs. And we'll add the corn. Aha! I bet you thought I was going to add peas. Not going to make that mistake again. And we can then turn off the heat. There's more than enough residual heat in that wok to warm the corn through. Plus, we don't want the soup to be too hot when we add our final ingredient, which is a sour cream. If we add it when the soup's too hot, we run the risk of curdling it. I've got about a quarter cup. We may as well add all of it. In addition to lightening the soup, it'll also add a nice subtle tang to the broth. At least that's the idea. We won't know for sure unless we taste it. Yep, that's about right. I can taste the seafood, I can taste the sour cream, and there's a subtle hint of tomato in the background. The only thing it needs is a bit of pepper. And a touch of salt. And we can set this aside and keep it warm while we whip up a fantastic garnish. For that, our bacon comes back into the picture. And all we need to do is chop it up until it's nice and crumbly. We'll dump the bacon into a pan and let it warm up. Then add roughly an equal amount of panko. We'll give it a minute for the breadcrumbs to soak up some of that bacon grease and turn golden. And just that easy, our bacon garnish is ready. Let's go to the table. So here it is, our impromptu fridge and pantry cleanup seafood chowder. Looking at this soup, you'd never guess that's what it was, especially after we sprinkle on some of our crunchy bacon garnish. Alright, let's do the flyby. Thanks for watching. I'm going to finish this soup, then head out to the store to restock the fridge. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you next time. Soup's on.